You've tuned into The Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lain. Gardening, it can be challenging, but with these simple insider tips, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, let's tune into today's Mountain Gardener with Ken and Lisa. And welcome to this week's edition of The Mountain Gardener. Your host, Ken Lain, here every week in the mountains of Arizona. It's autumn, it's beautiful. A couple things you should be noticing right now is the autumn colors that started early, they're starting to be, naked. They're deciduous. Deciduous means they lose their leaves in the winter. Evergreen is they hold their foliage. They may not necessarily be green all the time. Some evergreens turn gray. They turn purple. They turn reds and burgundies. They're just different colors, but they hold their leaves year round. Deciduous, whether it's a shrub or a tree, loses their leaves through winter. They need to rest. Many of the blooming plants like lilacs and forsythia and a rose of Sharon and crepe myrtles, these are things that need to rest. They put all this energy into blooming. And then they need to kind of hibernate, kind of like a squirrel or a bear. They need to kind of let go, just kind of reset, gather their energy, rest for a bit, and then come back next spring with vengeance and do it all over again. The evergreens, they don't need to do that as much. They tend to rest right after they're done elongating. So a spruce tree, now's the time to plant spruce and pines and firs and junipers. This is the peak time. Well, they tend to rest from summer through winter. And then they put all of their energy into bursting with new growth. They generally only grow one time. So a spruce tree will grow about 18 inches a year. If it's truly happy, maybe a little bit more. If it's not quite happy, maybe a little less, but about 18 inches. It's going to push that growth in the spring, and whatever you get for the spring, that's all you're going to get for the entire year. And then it rests for the rest of the year. It actually doesn't just rest. It actually thickens up those new needles. They become waxy. They kind of protect themselves. And that's why they're so winter hardy. They're just so robust because they've been hardening themselves off from summer through autumn through winter. And then they're forming right now new I call them leaf buds. So new buttons on the ends of those branches. That's the bigger that button can be, the more growth you're going to have next spring. And so things are in transition right now. That's also the spruce trees. That's why you're putting those in now. So they'll continue. They'll root out some through the end of the year. Then they're going to flush all of this new growth. And from the farm, I mean, we've really juiced them. We want them green and rich and healthy so that when they do burst with new growth next spring, you get maximum growth. And then right after that, new candle growth of a pine tree or a spruce or a fir or whatever that evergreen is, the bigger that elongated growth is, the more the roots you get. It's just a really good way to go. Deciduous plants, they need to hibernate, or just kind of rest for a bit. And then right now you are noticing many leaf buds and flower buds. So I noticed my peach tree. It's got a few leaves left. It's definitely gold. I'd say your apricots and your nectarines, they're all in the same league. They're all in the same, they're related to each other. They're kind of finishing up. But when the leaves fall off, you'll notice, look closely at the branches and you'll see little nodes, little buttons, little nodules. That is the flower bud for next spring. It's a flower or a leaf bud. One of those two. Generally for fruit trees, that's a flower bud. The more of those you have, the more potential for fruit. It's been a tremendous fruit year this year. Just lots of apples coming off right now. Lots of pears coming off right now. So that's why you're planting those now, so that they can get adjusted to their new home, I'd say, and then they're going to erupt with new flower buds and form new fruits next spring. And so the secret with those, don't be alarmed when they lose their leaves. This is for you tropical folks, the Hawaii, the Southern California, the south of Arizona. They're not used to the things losing their leaves. It's okay. It's natural. They need to do this. If you're seeing some yellow on your plants, so not just fall color, but let's say your evergreens like privets and red tip photinia, cotoneasters, all of these, we call them broadleaf evergreens. They're the ones that are most noticeable. If they've got any amount of yellow on them right now, they should not. That is not healthy. Usually what that is a lack of nutrients. And so they're starving to death. And so those plants that have yellow on them right now, they won't form nice leaf buds. They won't have good flower buds. And so if you've not fertilized in the last 6 months or so, you'll see this. Or if you've been watering like crazy, all that food you gave it back last spring has flushed out, and now it is actually gone. And so the plant is saying, hey, I'm emaciated. I'm getting pale. I need some help here. Watch after me. Could you help? And so you just give them some granular food. So the all-purpose plant food, 744 all-purpose plant food is the best stuff ever. Give it some of that, and it will green back up. It'll get you more leaf buds, more flower buds. The fertilizing in autumn is the most important, bar none. I mean, I can't emphasize that enough, because of this whole sequence of I'm forming next spring's flower and leaf buds. Or if it's an evergreen, it's forming that new button. And the bigger that elongation of that new node on the end of that branch gets, the more roots you get, the hardier it is, the deeper it is, the more drought robust. Just kind of, there's a lot going on for it. You folks with new landscapes, it's even more important. So new landscapes, because the roots just really haven't, you put in let's say a 5-gallon plant, it's kind of the standard tree, or a 15-gallon tree. That bucket, all the roots that plant knows are inside that bucket. They need to elongate outside that and get into that surrounding soil. And then all of a sudden it will be very happy next spring when it gets 100 degrees next into June, first part of July, when the summer is, it'll go through that like it was nothing. It'll just be happy with that. You won't have to water every day because it's got roots all over the place. You can water once a week and it'll be just fine. And so right now, your landscapers are adjusting water. And so if they've done that and you've got brand new plants, those brand new plants, because that root is still defined by the bucket, it hasn't elongated out. Those roots should go out 3, 4, 5, 6 feet away from where that original plant roots were. If that's the case, they're going to be more dependent on you through winter. They're going to need some supplementing this winter. So I'm telling folks right now, as soon as you turn that irrigation off, sometime in November, we tend to throttle back. So as plants lose their leaves, they don't need as much water. They still need water. Here in Arizona, they never shut down. It's not like the Midwest. You Midwest folks, we don't have a frost line here. I mean, the code says your water pipes and sewer pipes need to be 18 inches under the ground. That's barely scratching the surface. Some of you folks from Wisconsin, you got 6 foot, 8 foot water lines. You're down so deep because the ground freezes. We don't do that here. And because of that, your plants, that sap will still flow even in midwinter, even in January. I mean, it was 12 degrees last night, but it will be 55, 60 degrees this afternoon. That's why it's so beautiful here. I mean, even middle of the day, it's still bright and sunny. You still see the blue sky. You can still go out and with a couple layers, go out and hike around and just enjoy the outdoors. That's the beauty of Arizona, especially the mountains of Arizona. It's the best. And your plants are happy with it too. So you'll find that they tend to still form those buds. They'll be slower, but they're still forming. They're still growing. They're still, that sap is still flowing and feeding next March into February. First part of March is when you see spring hit here in the Central Highlands. I call it, let's say it's Cordes Junction to Prescott Valley, Dewey, Chino Valley, Paulden, Prescott, of course, over the mountain towards Kirkland, Skull Valley, those areas, Hillside. That's where all the Central Highlands, we're all the same elevation. I would even include, and some of you folks on the other side of the mountain, you think you're more special than we are. You're not. You're the same. Camp Verde, Cottonwood, Sedona, you're the same. We're all the same. We're all the Central Highlands. We're the same. So the plants will start to wake up sometime after Valentine's Day, and then it goes from there. So it's usually the daffodils are starting to bloom, especially on that eastern slope on the Mingus. That's that Cottonwood, Jerome, those areas, Sedona, where you get some of those warm rocks up there, they start to take off early. And so by the end of February, you're seeing, oh, it's spring's here, it's getting ready. So the spring bloomers are starting to really go. And then it's forsythia hit, then it's lilacs bloom, and then it's roses hit. And then it's a progression right after that. But they're deciduous. They need to rest for a bit.
Waters Garden companion plants for November are flowering pear, English ivy, camellias, and Vanderwolf pine.
Vanderwolf is related to Arizona pines with fluffy foliage.
It's remarkably resilient in dry Arizona soils.
Makes a graceful specimen in yards or expansive estate landscapes.
This distinctive pine, long, twisted, silver blue needles covering the dense branches.
Carefree and easy to grow.
Shop by store or online at watersgardencenter.com.
For a more fruitful garden, increased success in the landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Mountain Gardener podcast. Subscribe through your favorite podcast streamer or visit watersgardencenter.com. Better yet, visit me directly right here at Waters Garden Center. Thanks for tuning in.